Storybook Brawl was nice enough to send me some dust codes, so I'm doing another giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. New week, new code word. What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today I am calling on CopyBoy, which is an old favorite strategy of mine. Used to be one of the most powerful strategies in Storybook Brawl until they nerfed it a whole bunch of times and made it a lot less viable. But it can still be good, especially when you are playing Pied Piper, because Pied Piper can more easily find the copycats and the good boys. And that's what the strategy is. If you're not familiar with it, if you're new to this channel or new to Storybook Brawl, that's basically what it is. You pick up all the copycats, all the good boys, and the rest writes itself. I wind up locking onto this for glory on the first turn, just because we're playing Pied Piper, and I know that Pied Piper can be strong early on in the game, but there's also a bunch of animals here, and typically there's two strategies that I will, or one of two strategies that I will play when playing Pied Piper. Picking up all the polywoggles is a bunch of fun. You'll find polywoggles with a little bit more regularity on Pied Piper, and from there maybe you can do something silly with those. And then the other one, of course, is summons. Summons is much more powerful right now. You've got a higher chance to find a lot of the different pieces for the summons comp. Time flies, hippocampus, bear stain, baby bear into the late game. So for that reason, I do really like a lot of the units that are in this shop and wind up locking onto that too. And on turn 3, we're going to get a really interesting decision to be made here, because we can see 3 black cats. And I don't really want to lock onto this shop going into 3.0, so I just triple my black cats. We'll see what the treasure brings, and needle nose daggers, pretty good when you're playing summons. It's a little bit risky here because we are only playing 3 units, but one of those units is black cats. So maybe we will be able to survive. Like I said, we are still really strong in this early game because we are Pied Piper, and that's going to give us a little bit more flexibility in terms of picking up these needle nose daggers and not losing a combat just immediately after. But it is close up against King Midas here. This combat gets super, way too close for comfort, but we do walk away with a tie. So we get to keep our needle nose daggers, and then on turn 4, we get to pick up a Brave Princess, and I'll definitely pick that up because that is going to help us find a tier 3 treasure and also flip over our Frog Prince. I do consider that this shop has a Queen of Hearts, and it's definitely interesting and definitely works well to push you into the summons route, but I'm gonna go for this unicorn just because I don't want to lose my needle nose daggers. I want to be as strong as I can for this turn, and just giving 1 extra health to the Frog Prince, 1 extra health to the Brave Princess. Both of these things could be super useful for us. So we'll see how that works out for us if we are able to just stay alive here. And the 1 extra health actually super useful on the Frog Prince there, though I think we were going to win this combat there regardless. And then we are on to turn 5, 3.1, and I think we can keep these wins rolling, basically. I'm going to pick up the spinning gold and then spend 5 gold on good animals. Another unicorn is going to be synergistic, and then the donkey is synergistic with both of the unicorns. So all of this, I think, works out really, well. We're playing quite a strong board for this stage of the game. And ultimately, yeah, I think that we will be able to win this spinning gold. We are playing up against a Wonder Waddle though, so anything is possible. Luckily, it looks like we will be able to take this one. We've got a bigger donkey, and we are also summoning slightly better stuff, both just randomly and because we've got those unicorns and the needle nose daggers. So we're gonna have 4 bonus gold this turn. 3 from the spinning gold, 1 from my opponent's prize pig. That's all going right into XP. So I'll pick that up, and then I'm going to roll a little bit. Interestingly, this shop does have the Copycat plus Friendly Spirit combo, but I'm not quite there yet. So I roll 1 more time and then lock onto this shop, mostly because of the XP. But it does have a Friendly Spirit and a Copycat in it as well, and we are going to take advantage of those units. I'm also going to sell off of my goat to pick up a Humpty Dumpty. We didn't use as much of our gold this turn to get more powerful. So I do want to still make sure that I'm staying strong to make sure that we can keep this needle nose daggers. And I'm going to put the Humpty Dumpty back in so that way I can backline both of my donkeys and see where we can go from there. I do get the sleigh on Brave Princess, which is really sweet, and Humpty's going to be able to clean up this Vampire, which is going to allow my donkeys to summon some stuff. So that all worked out very, very well. We basically used the 1 gold from the Humpty Dumpty, or 2 gold, to ensure that we keep our needle nose daggers, which is a great trade-off. I'll pick up the Fancy Pants because we've got the Friendly Spirit in this shop, and Friendly Spirit works pretty well with a lot of what we've got going on. It gets pumped up by the unicorn, it potentially pumps the donkeys, and I'm considering the XP, but what I'm realizing is just economically here, it works out really well to pick up 1 Copycat this turn, and the next turn pick up a 2nd Copycat, plus buy the Wish Upon a Star. And that's going to set us up really, really well. That should make us strong enough that we are going to be winning our combat next turn. And here you get to see like the prototype version of this CopyBoy strategy. So Copycat's going to attack, and then it's going to give something +8, +7. And unfortunately, it cannot land on itself, the Friendly Spirit. That was one of the other nerfs that they made to this comp, just to make it slightly weaker. So Friendly Spirit can still land on Donkey, though, and that can do some really sweet stuff. Unfortunately, we do get a loss here, and we lose our Needle Nose Dagger. So that does kind of impact my ability to win the Wish Upon a Star. It kind of makes me consider like, okay, well, should I be considering the Hippocampus, especially with the Fancy Pants? But I want the XP, and I want to get to this end game, and XP is also really important for the CopyBoy strategy, just because the sooner you hit level 6, the sooner you can start finding good boys, and ultimately that is going to make the comp that much stronger. But definitely do have a little bit of a fall off here. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to win this combat against a 31 health Horde Dragon. So we'll see what happens here up against the Horde Dragon, and we're actually going to get first attack, which is really good. And typically Hermes Boots was a treasure that you would want with the CopyBoy strategy, just so that your copycats were attacking earlier on, less likely to get attacked into, and then you're going to get full value out of their triggers, which is just a ton of value and really tough to beat. I do want to back up for a second because something really interesting happens in this combat with this monster book. It casts a fireball here. Donkey is going to summon a soul attack which protects this donkey, but we still actually summon a Wicked Witch. So just really weird interaction there. I'm not sure if I knew all of the ins and outs of what was going on, but definitely interesting. But importantly, we're going to get that bonus XP from the Wish Upon a Star. So really, really great. I'll pick up another Copycat before we hit level 6. And at this point, I'm pretty firmly cemented in the CopyBoy strategy. And Gloves of Thieving, another treasure that used to be really good on CopyBoy, specifically because it was the comp that everybody was playing. And Gloves of Thieving, I think, is always kind of an underrated treasure, but it can be very powerful if you're just playing the same thing as everybody else. So if you are trying to play the best comp, generally Gloves of Thieving is going to be pretty good for you, because if your opponents are also trying to play the best comp, you're going to be able to steal whatever they're doing. So Gloves of Thieving can have a lot of really, really sweet impacts. And if you think about Copycat and Good Boy, both of those units are typically in slot 1, though if you're playing Copycat Good Boy, then the Good Boys are in slot 5, but either Copycat or Good Boy is going to be a slot 1 card, so you have a higher chance of stealing the units that you really, really want while playing this strategy. And I do feel like I'm strong enough after combining onto my Copycats here, so I am going to pick up a Spinning Gold and a Golden Chicken and hopefully bring some gold onto 6.0 where we can hunt for some good boys. So that's the plan. Unfortunately for us, this Gwen is going to have a really, really good setup with a Lightning Dragon and a Cupid. Those flying units are definitely really, really good at disrupting Copycat strategies, and maybe even just the presence of Lightning Dragon, more so now than it used to be, does make it a little bit more difficult to play this comp. But we go down to 28, we're still pretty healthy healthy, one of the lobby leaders, and I'm feeling good, level 6, that we can pick up some good boys with our hero power and still find a way to win this thing. And I am going to stop down for a second here, pick up Lancelot and Trojan Donkey to try to hunt for some treasures as well. I'm going to pick up the Lancelot first, so that way it gets the Fancy Pants bonus, and just is a little bit closer to completing it. It actually works out really, really well for us, because when I triple this Donkey, well, Cloak of the Assassin and Bad Moon have interesting things going on with them. Not really for this comp, though. Sting could be good. It's not good with Copycat, but really importantly, it's just going to make it so that we could potentially complete the Lancelot treasure this turn. We can throw Lancelot in the Sting slot and then throw a Potion of Heroism on it, and if Lancelot can slay and stay, then we'll get a tier 5 treasure. So it's got to attack into something with less than 13 attack and less than, or 24 or less health. But if it can do that, then we get a tier 5 treasure for this turn, and that's pretty sweet. One other thing that I wanted to talk about, and apologies if I've already said this before in this video, I might have already said it twice, or maybe I haven't said it at all, but one of the ways that the CopyBoy strategy was nerfed is that Good Boy and Friendly Spirit can now no longer pump themselves. So when Copycat attacks here, the Friendly Spirit will never land on the same Friendly Spirit. But if you have 2 Friendly Spirits, they can still land on each other. If you have 2 Good Boys, they will still pump each other. So at the high end, the CopyBoy strategy can still work, but it definitely needs a little bit more to grease the wheels, because you're never just going to get lucky and have the Friendly Spirit just pump itself. But we get some huge payoff cards in this shop. We get to take a Hand of Midas on a Good Boy, and then we also get to grab an upgraded Friendly Spirit from what my opponent's doing. I'm going to toss the Sting, because we're going to put the Copycat back in slot 1, or maybe this Lightning Dragon even. Then I'm going to pick up this Good Boy, so that's an upgraded Good Boy with +3/+3, and then we also get to grab this Friendly Spirit that we just stole from our last opponent. So all of this is going really, really great here. I love everything that this is leading to. And then we also get to pick up a Hercules and a potentially tier 6 treasure down the line. So all of this is looking really, really good. Let's just sell off this unicorn, put this Hercules back into place. And the other thing that I'm thinking here, Lightning Dragon is kind of cool with the Copycat. 2 options here too. I'll explain this briefly. I could have just locked onto this Good Boy, so that way it got the Fancy Pants buff, but I just decided to sell off for it and make it happen right now. I'm going to sell the Lancelot, put in the Good Boy, and then I think I backline the Hercules. Yeah, that seems to be right. So the other thing going on here is that we can use the Lightning Dragon, so that way Copycat is our first unit to attack. Now, unfortunately, we get a little bit punished, because if I wasn't running the Lightning Dragon, then we would have been able to steal a Good Boy from my opponent. So definitely a huge mistake there, even running the Lightning Dragon, but we are still going to have some absolutely massively statted units, and Hercules could potentially even activate this turn. Unfortunately, we don't get the trigger from the Friendly Spirit there, so Hercules is still going to need one more turn to complete, but even with some mistakes, you can see how crazy out of hand this comp can get. I pick up another Copycat, so we get to go a little bit more wild even, and then pick up another Good Boy. So we're really doing some good stuff here. Unfortunately, haven't had too many buffs from the Fancy Pants land on the Good Boys, but you know, what can you do? And I'm not going to play the Lightning Dragon at this point, just so that way I am more likely to actually start stealing some Good Boys, and then I'll cast Shard of the Ice Queen just to cast a spell, just to cast something for the turn. I do slightly consider this Lady of the Lake. I don't think I wind up picking it up here, but at some point we could consider abandoning the Copycat strategy. We might just say it's too risky to play the Copycats. let's just play the good boys and do a little bit more of a traditional comp. And you'll see that I kind of go a little bit back and forth on that throughout this game. But for this turn, we're playing the Copycat. We're going to make some huge numbers. So upgraded Copycat gives plus, I mean, these numbers are crazy. I'll back up one more time just in case you guys haven't seen this comp before. But this good boy gives this good boy a bunch of stats, then this one pumps this one, then this one pumps this one, and we're also pumping all of these other units too. So we get Hercules up in the 700s, so we're going to be able to complete that treasure and walk away with a pretty easy victory here. We're actually killing the trophy hunter right now. It would be kind of interesting if we became a trophy hunter, because then we get to make some massive good boys for ourselves, but I'm not really going to worry about it. I think I will take a Phoenix Feather. That probably has the most synergy with our comp. It's a little bit awkward because it's pumping up, or it's respawning the Hercules, but I think what we do from there is we just cut the Hercules and put in the Friendly Spirit potentially, and hope that this good boy in the back line is now a little bit safer, or our Copycat is a little bit safer in getting that trigger, because they'll be able to be resummoned by the Phoenix Feather. So that's the plan. And then we also get to pick up a Echo Wood this turn. And I'm also somewhat thinking that this is the opponent that played the... Oh, that's right, we steal a Lady of the Lake. We don't actually have to pick one up ourselves, but thinking that this is the opponent that had all of the flying units a few turns ago. So I might want to just put some respect on that. It's a little bit awkward because we're going to be playing Echo Wood too, but maybe I don't want to go full CopyBoy. And there's a nice little middle ground here that we can go for. Could have considered locking for Knighthood, but we're just going to let that roll on, and we'll see what we can make happen with just these units. But yeah, I don't want to just put all my good boys in the back and then they get attacked by lightning dragons and then my Copycats attack and do nothing. But if my opponent attacks into my Echo Wood and kills it, it's not the worst thing in the world. We still have some other sweet things going on here. And luckily they don't. They kill my Lady of the Lake, and good boy is going to resummon off the Phoenix Feather. Interestingly, that is another interaction that got changed. So good boy cannot pump itself. It will pump other good boys, but when a unit resummons off of Phoenix Feather, it's considered the same unit. So a good boy that resummons off Phoenix Feather will not pump itself, but a good boy that resummons off Mirror Mirror will. So it's kind of just a distinction to know about there. We end up taking another Lightning Dragon because my opponent was playing Lightning Dragon, but then we roll into another good boy, and we get to put Fancy Pants on this one, so that is pretty sweet. And from here, I think Singing Sword is the pickup. Wand of Weirding and Pandora's Box could do some interesting stuff, but Singing Sword is just going to be objectively so cleanly and easily powerful, and just going to really translate into something strong. Unfortunately, that does mean that we won't really be making use of the Copycats from this point in the game, but we've got a bunch of good boys, and that still really is just the strength of Pied Piper, the ability to find so many more good boys than all of your opponents, and we're playing up against a Potion Master, so there is a chance that we will be able to steal some good boys from my opponent as well, which would be really sweet. I'm going to feed a Copycat to the Kraken just to roll 2 more times and see what we can find. We're not going to find anything, but worth a shot there. Probably should have just fed the Hercules to the Kraken, but not a huge deal. Let's see if we can steal some good boys, because that is going to make this comp go absolutely bananas. We haven't been super great with our Gloves of Thieving up until this point, but unfortunately, we're not going to steal another good boy. We were 50-50 to steal a good boy, maybe even more than that if they attacked into one of our units. Yeah, probably 50-50 plus another 12, so probably like 63% to steal a good boy there, maybe even a little bit higher. But we do still get the win. We take this Potion Master out, and we're feeling pretty strong here with a 1k Echo Wood and some 500 power units in the back line, and we'll even get to add in another Echo Wood, which is pretty sweet. And then I probably just go for a free roll here, looking for some more good boys with the Pied Piper hero power or another Echo Wood. I think I would lock onto that at this point too, and then we'd be able to put the Friendly Spirit back in. Probably don't want to spend just for a Friendly Spirit or lock for a Knighthood. I think that we can do better than that, just rolling for the 3 gold here. Maybe we find a tier 3 treasure or something that is that's useful. So I think I will wind up rolling a few more times. I wouldn't hate just locking here though either, and preparing to cast the knighthood onto the good boy. I think that could be pretty powerful. I think that the Echo Woods are a little bit fragile too, especially because like early spells, they're not going to get pumped up by something like Lordy or Ashwood Elm, so they can die, right? And that is definitely something to be mindful of, but I think that there is like a pretty huge upside. I do actually, I forgot about this, wind up going for the CopyBoy again, and I think part of this, to be totally honest, was just to show off the CopyBoy strategy. Again, I did feel a little bit awkward just playing 2 backline Echo Woods, and part of me wanted to get the ball rolling with those Echo Woods a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, the way that this works out, my Lightning Dragon respawns with the Phoenix Feather, which is pretty terrible. But just Copycat pumping up 2 upgraded good boys is going to be absolutely massive, so the rest doesn't really matter, and we will still get the win this combat. But it was probably a little bit more risky than it needed to be. If we look at the win percentage though, still 65% to win, so we were still doing pretty good with that one. And then I will pick up the Echo Wood triple and Spear of Achilles. Okay, that's definitely going to push me back into this CopyBoy strategy, and we will make that work. And I kind of want to play the Lightning Dragon in that final slot, but Lightning Dragon will get +7/+7 from the Spear, which means that Lightning Dragon will then be my highest attack unit and will summon off the Phoenix Feather again. So I just don't want to mess around with that. I'll wind up rolling down and casting onto this Pigomorph, and I think this is going to be more than enough power to win our final combat. Again, like, now that we have combined our Echo Woods, this could be awkward in a different way. Obviously, it's not going to die to Falling, or Ring of, what is that called? Falling Stars. It's just called Falling Stars, right? But it could just die to like any other spell. It could get scammed, but we do protect it against the Falling Stars here, and then Good Boy is going to resummon off of the Phoenix Feather. So we just have some absolutely massive units. And if my opponent were to scam my single Echo Wood, honestly, I mean, this Echo Wood isn't even going to be relevant in this combat. Our Good Boys are just way too big. Unfortunately, we did pivot a little bit off of the Copycats in the final combat. That's a little bit due to the treasures. The treasures now on tier 6, and always have really, but especially currently, these tier 6 treasures really push you into just playing Good Boys rather than messing around with Copycats. But hopefully this is a fun kind of look into the past of a strategy that was once really powerful and obviously can still be really powerful in the right circumstances. Here's the details for my giveaway this week. Just leave a comment below that includes the word good on any of my videos. New week, new code word, and you'll be entered into a chance to win a 4,000 dust code. The reason that I say to include the word, that way I can differentiate between the people just leaving a comment and those that are actually interested in the dust, to make sure that it goes to a person that will appreciate it. And there's no limit to how many times you can enter. You can go back and comment on some of my previous videos. I've been uploading daily Storybook Brawl videos for the past 7 or 8 months at this point, so I'm sure there is some sweet content that you have yet to see. And yeah, you can enter multiple times. I will do a new code next week. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that if a bunch of people enter, I will give away more codes. So that's just going to be limited by how many people are entering and how many people are commenting. Let's get this channel to over 1,000. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.